obj, then that interface name you have to provide here. Interface name, and you have to use tilde symbol and method name. So that's alternate technique you have to follow. And then you can find your data to your node. So this is the shortcut technique. Shortcut technique in the sense, just we are directly creating object for class and we are calling interface method. But in our first technique, we are assigning object to interface reference. So similarly, let me go with delete method. Data statement you can use, you can define one reference, type ref to that particular interface name, then you can define one object for class, then you create object for that class, then what you can do is, according to first technique, you have to assign your class object to interface reference. We are assigning object to interface reference. Object is assigned to interface reference according to technique. And on interface reference, you can call that method delete method. And pass the parameters. You can pass the parameters something like ls underscore itab -id, and you can receive the data. So this approach you can follow according to technique 1. This is technique 1. Say for example, if you want to go with technique 2, that means alternative technique, then what you can do is you directly go with, you try to define object for class, and try to create object for that class. You can create object for that class, and on that object you can directly call interface method by using interface name, and you have to use tilde symbol, then method name, and parameters will be same. So this is an alternate approach. So whatever may be the method, you can follow this approach, first approach or second approach, it's up to you. Okay, now let us talk about aliases here. Interface aliases. So here, interface alias means, alias is just an alternate name. For interface method. Alias is an alternate name for interface method, and alias provides shortcut syntax. That means alias provides a shortcut name for interface method. Interface method is nothing but abstract method. It provides a shortcut name for interface method. So let us see how exactly we can create aliases. Here I'm going to the class. You have to go to the class which interface methods are implemented. There you have to provide the alias names. So let me open that. So this is a class which interface methods are implemented. I'm opening that. Now you can see these are the interface methods we have implemented. These are the interface methods we have implemented. So now for these interface methods you can provide shortcut name by going to alias section. Here you can see aliases. Here there is a tab aliases. For interface delete method, you can provide some alias name. Say for example DEL. You can give any name. And for select method, you can give SEL, something like this. And you try to make it public visibility. If you want to access from WEBDYNPRO, make it as public visibility. So you can activate now. So after activating in WEBDYNPRO side, not only in WEBDYNPRO, wherever you use this interface method, now you can follow this approach. Here you can see we are giving interface name tilde symbol and method name. Here we have written like this, interface name tilde symbol method name. So instead of this, you can directly substitute with your alias name, DEL, for calling delete method. And similarly, here we are using select method. So instead of using interface name tilde symbol method name, then you can substitute with alias name, something like SEL. Then it will work. Functionality wise, there won't be any difference. Whatever the functionality you write, it will be executed without any problem. So this is just how to make use of aliases. DEL is alias of delete method. SEL is alias of that select method. So you can use it like this also. So what is the advantage when you use aliases here? Advantage of using aliases, we can hide the identity. We can hide the identity of interface. That's the only advantage here. So which interface is used, that will not be clear when you try to make use of a alias here. Interface name is not used anywhere here. We are directly using alias name. So that is how we can hide the identity of an interface. While calling the method. While calling the method, you need not reveal that interface name. You can directly use alias name. So that's the only advantage. And here I have explained with global interface. You can also create local interfaces. All the points are same for local interfaces and global interfaces, but you should know the syntax of how to create global interfaces. Okay, so if you want to create local interfaces, what you do is you have to use interface and interface name. Some interface name you can provide like this, and end interface. So interface will have only definition, no implementation. So what you can do is, inside interface you can define the methods. Say for example, create, change, display, you can use like this. So here this is the interface. You have to use interface and end interface. Inside that you have to define the methods. You have to define the methods. Now this interface should be implemented in a class. This interface should be implemented in a class. So you have to use class, some class name. Okay, let me go to AC38 and let me do it directly. So you can take this one. So there is no syntax error. This is how you can create your local interface. And whatever the methods you define in interface, they are in public section. You need not write like this. You need not write like this, because by default all interface methods will be in public section. Remember that. You need not write. And moreover, you need not provide method name like abstract, because all methods by default in interface are abstract. You need not provide like this explicitly. You need not provide like this. Why? Because the methods, whatever you define in interface, they are abstract by default. So you need not provide like this. Even if you don't provide, they are abstract methods itself. Now, this interface should be implemented in one of the class. So let us create one class. Say for example, class A, definition, and inside class A, which interface you want to implement. Which interface you want to implement, that interface name you have to use here. Interfaces, and you have to provide that interface name here. That's the option you have to use. Okay. Here inside the class you provide some section. Inside interface you need not provide the visibility, but inside the class you have to provide the section, visibility section. And here, now let us provide implementation. So inside class A, we are trying to implement interface, inter-OSS, that is an interface name. That interface I want to implement inside class A. So that's the meaning of this one here. Inside class A, we are implementing interface OSS. So now what you can do is, here you can implement the methods. Method, create, you can implement the methods. code whatever you want. Set these methods. So these methods are defined in interface, but they are implemented inside the class. If you notice this example, these methods are defined in interface, but they are implemented inside the class. They are implemented inside the class by taking that interface name into class. Some problem, let me check the syntax. Okay, here when you are implementing the methods, of interface, what you try to do is you try to provide your interface name, then you have to use tilde symbol. I forgot to provide that, so this is how you have to provide. Interface methods you are implementing in a class, so you have to provide interface name, tilde symbol, method name. Here also you provide interface name, tilde symbol, method name. Otherwise it cannot recognize. So that's the approach you have to follow. Now there won't be any syntax error. Now you can see it is syntactically valid. For more clarity, what I'll do is I'll try to convert this local interface to global interface. I'll convert this local class. So if you want to do that, let me convert manually. So let me go to S24. For getting more clarity, I'm creating one more interface here. So three methods I'm defining: create, change, something like this. I'm not defining any parameters here. Directly I'm defining the methods. Now after defining the methods, you can activate. You can activate the methods here. Now what you do is you try to create one class now. You can create one class. That's here, class 1. So inside this class you go to interfaces option and you provide that interface name. You provide that interface name. So when you do that, automatically those three methods will participate here. You can see this. All interface methods are participating inside the class. Now what you can do is just double click and implement the code. Double click and implement the code. technique for creating local interfaces. Local interfaces and how to convert local interfaces to global interfaces is the technique you have to follow. So now I think you got some clarity about how to create a local interface. Interface name, methods and end interface. And that interface has to be implemented inside the class. And you have to remember one basic point. When interface methods are implemented in a class, you have to use interface name, tilde symbol, method name. Otherwise it can't recognize those methods. Interface name, tilde symbol, method name should be used while implementing interface methods inside the class. So this is the approach you have to follow. Okay, what I'll do is I'll upload this last class and today's class video file, and in the next class we'll discuss some other topics.